last week sent shockwaves through the MMA world for two very different reasons. On one side, Sean Strickland's rare and raw outburst inside the cage left fans and fighters stunned. On the other, the legendary Daniel Cormier revealed that his truck had been stolen, triggering an outpouring of support and disbelief. It all started during a recent fight night where tensions reached a boiling point. Strickland, known for his fiery personality and trash talk, finally snapped inside the octagon. After a heated exchange with his opponent, Sean stormed forward and unexpectedly attacked, sparking a brief but intense confrontation. Eyewitnesses reported that what began as verbal sparring quickly escalated to physical aggression. The crowd erupted as security rushed in to separate the fighters. Clips of the incident went viral immediately, dividing the MMA community between those defending Sean's passion and others condemning his loss of control. Veterans and commentators weighed in with mixed feelings. Joe Rogan called it unprecedented but understandable in the heat of competition, while former champions criticized the breach of professionalism. The incident sparked an intense debate on social media. Fans flooded Twitter with hot takes. Some praised Strickland's raw intensity, others demanded harsher penalties for unsportsmanlike conduct. The UFC brass announced they would review the matter carefully before making a decision. In an unrelated but equally surprising story, Daniel Cormier, the former two-division UFC champion and current commentator, shared a frustrating personal loss. Only days after UFC 317, DC revealed his brand new truck had been stolen from the San Jose airport parking garage, and he'd only had it for 4 days. Cormier's recount of the incident was part disbelief, part frustration. I kind of thought, man, I've had the same vehicle since 2018, driving Raptors over and over, so I changed the car. Thought it'd be cool to get something different. Then I get back from UFC 317. I'm going up and down looking for my car. Turns out someone stole my truck. The MMA community rallied around DC, sharing stories of similar experiences and offering support. Fellow fighters reached out with sympathy, while fans expressed shock that even a UFC legend could fall victim to theft. The story added an unexpected human element to the high-octane world of MMA. Meanwhile, the lightweight division remained a hotbed of drama and speculation. Topuria, fresh off an explosive first-round knockout of Charles Oliveira at UFC, earned widespread praise. Many hailed him as the new #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. Commentators marveled at the clinical precision of Topuria's right hand that sent Oliveira crashing unconscious, cementing his status as a bona fide superstar. But with greatness comes controversy. Topuria himself sparked debate by calling out rivals like Arman Tsarukyan and Paddy Pimblett, accusing them of fear and dodging fights. Paddy Pimblett, known as the Baddie, didn't shy away. His confidence soared as he vowed to fight Topuria, setting the stage for a highly anticipated showdown. Fans were split. Would Topuria's technical striking dominate, or would Pimblett's unpredictable aggression upset the champion? Adding fuel to the fire was Dana White's public comments, shutting down the possibility of Topuria moving up to welterweight to face Islam Makhachev, who himself was scheduled to fight Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight belt. White insisted the fight wasn't happening anytime soon, dampening hopes of a superfight that fans had long clamored for. In candid moments away from the cameras, fighters opened up about their experiences with Topuria. Bantamweight champ Morab Dvalishvili revealed in a recent interview that during sparring sessions, Topuria had knocked him down twice with body shots. He hits hard, too hard. Every time I finish sparring with him, I'm just thankful it's over, Morab confessed. He's very smart, very organized. He's special. Other fighters shared mixed reviews. Some praised Topuria's skill and dedication. Others noted his vulnerabilities. But one thing was clear. El Matador was a force to be reckoned with. Beneath the surface of fights and media soundbites lay simmering tensions. Fighters like Arman Tsarukyan expressed frustration about not getting a rightful title shot, feeling the matchmaking was skewed by marketability rather than merit. There's a lot of politics in the sport, Tsarukyan said. In a recent press conference, I'm the #1 contender, but they push other fights because they sell better. Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett's camp openly declared their intent to prove the Baddie was the next big thing, dismissing doubters and promising to bring chaos to the lightweight division. On social media, the MMA world exploded with reactions to the recent events. Clips of Sean Strickland's cage outburst racked up millions of views, with hashtags trending worldwide. Daniel Cormier's stolen truck story sparked a flood of memes and genuine offers of help. Discussions about Ilia Topuria's future opponents dominated forums, with heated debates over who deserved the next title shot. Paddy Pimblett's fiery promises polarized fans, some calling him a brash upstart, others seeing a new star in the making. As the dust settles, several key questions remain. How will the UFC handle Sean Strickland's cage incident? Will there be suspensions, fines, or other repercussions? Can Daniel Cormier put the stolen truck episode behind him and focus on his role as commentator and mentor? Will Ilia Topuria secure the super fight against Islam Makhachev, or will he face Paddy Pimblett first? How will fighters like Arman Tsarukyan respond to perceived snubs and prove their place in the division? In a sport defined by unpredictability, last week was a vivid reminder that MMA is about more than just fights inside the cage. It's about personalities clashing, personal struggles, and the relentless pursuit of greatness amid chaos. Sean Strickland's outburst, Daniel Cormier, stolen truck, and the drama surrounding Ilia Topuria and his challengers all weave into a rich tapestry of conflict, resilience, and spectacle that keeps fans hooked. As always, the only certainty in MMA is uncertainty, and that makes every moment worth watching. Following Sean Strickland's shocking cage storming, the MMA world remained abuzz. Many insiders expressed surprise, as Sean is usually known for his composed but aggressive fighting style, not outright physical confrontations beyond the fight itself. The incident sparked questions about the pressure fighters face, the thin line between passion and loss of control, and the consequences of such actions inside the octagon. Fellow fighters and analysts debated if Sean's outburst was a symptom of deeper frustrations. Some pointed to the intense weight cuts, constant media scrutiny, and personal pressures that can wear on even the toughest athletes. Others worried about setting a dangerous precedent, emphasizing the importance of professionalism and sportsmanship. Social media became a battleground of opinions. Some fans rallied behind Sean, admiring his raw emotion and dedication. Others called for disciplinary action, highlighting the need to protect the sport's integrity. UFC officials remained tight-lipped but promised a thorough review. Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier's stolen truck story took a more lighthearted turn despite the initial frustration. Fans sympathized with DC's situation, and memes began circulating, showing mock wanted posters and jokes about the thief being a fan desperate for a ride. Fellow fighters reached out with words of encouragement, reminding everyone that even legends face everyday struggles. Amid the chaos, Ilia Topuria continued to dominate headlines. His brutal knockout of Charles Oliveira not only secured him a two-division championship, but also ignited fierce debates about the rightful next challenger for his lightweight title. Arman Tsarukyan voiced his frustration openly, insisting that rankings should matter more than height. He argued that while fights like Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett generate buzz and pay-per-view buys, merit and skill should dictate title shots. Paddy Pimblett, in turn, amplified his brash persona, promising to upset the established order. His bold claims and colorful interviews polarized fans, but undeniably increased anticipation for any potential matchup. Dana White's stance complicated matters further. His public dismissal of a Topuria versus Islam Makhachev fight frustrated many fans. Hoping for a super fight, Dana's focused on business realities division, integrity, fighter availability, and marketability highlighted the complexities of matchmaking at the highest level. Behind the scenes, whispers of potential new contenders and surprise matchups began circulating. Trainers and managers discussed strategies. Fighters ramped up their training, and the division prepared for what promises to be a tumultuous and thrilling next chapter. As these stories unfolded, the MMA community was reminded why the sport captivates millions. It's a volatile mix of skill, personality, drama, and unpredictability. Whether inside the cage or beyond it, every moment tells a story, and the latest chapters are among the most gripping yet. The weeks following Sean Strickland's cage-storming incident proved to be some of the most intense and polarizing in recent MMA history. The shockwaves from that moment rippled through the entire MMA ecosystem, impacting fighters, promoters, commentators, and fans alike. It was a vivid reminder that while the sport thrives on adrenaline-fueled battles inside the octagon, the pressures on fighters outside the cage are just as profound and sometimes unpredictable. To understand the gravity of Sean Strickland's actions, one must look deeper into the man himself. Known for his relentless pressure fighting style and unapologetic trash talk, Sean has carved out a reputation as one of the most intense personalities in the UFC, yet few expected him to cross the line and physically confront an opponent outside the heat of the sanctioned fight. According to sources close to Strickland, the weeks leading up to the incident were fraught with tension. The grueling weight cuts, constant media obligations, and the mental toll of maintaining peak performance all added layers of stress. Fighters often describe the octagon as their sanctuary, a place where controlled chaos reigns and they can express themselves through combat. But when that boundary is crossed unexpectedly, it raises questions about emotional regulation and support systems within the sport. In a rare public statement after the incident, Strickland acknowledged his lapse in judgment. "I let the moment get the best of me. This sport demands everything from us, not just physically, but mentally. I crossed a line I shouldn't have. I'm sorry to the fans, the UFC, and especially to my opponent. I'm going to learn from this and come back stronger and more focused." His admission sparked varied responses. Some fans applauded his honesty and resolve to improve, while others remained skeptical, demanding more concrete accountability measures. The UFC, prioritizing the sport's image and safety protocols, announced a formal disciplinary review. Industry insiders predicted a combination of a hefty fine, mandatory anger management counseling, and possibly a temporary suspension. The UFC's approach was cautious, balancing the need for discipline with the understanding of the immense psychological pressures fighters endure. The MMA community's reaction was swift and vocal. Fighters from various divisions took to social media, sharing their perspectives. Veteran welterweight Stephen Thompson, known for his calm demeanor, posted, "Competition is fierce, emotions run high, but we all have to respect the sport and each other. Let's support Sean as he works through this." In contrast, former middleweight champ Michael Bisping was less forgiving. "There's no excuse for breaking the rules and attacking someone like that. It damages the sport's integrity. Fighters need to control themselves." Commentators, analysts, and former champions debated the implications on podcasts and live broadcast. The consensus: while fighters are warriors in the cage, professionalism must remain paramount to protect all participants and preserve MAS legitimacy. This incident reopened dialogue around fighter mental health, a topic gaining overdue attention in recent years. The pressures of being in the spotlight, relentless training, and the unforgiving nature of competition can exacerbate stress and anxiety. Prominent sports psychologists working with MMA fighters highlighted the importance of mental resilience, training, and support networks. Dr. Lisa Randall, who has worked with UFC athletes, explained, "Fighters face unique stressors. Helping them manage emotions, channel aggression constructively, and handle setbacks is crucial not just for performance, but for overall well." The Sean Strickland event became a catalyst for calls to expand mental health resources across gyms, promotions, and athletic commissions. On a different note, Daniel Cormier's stolen truck story captured hearts in a very human way. The former two-division champion and respected commentator had just upgraded his vehicle after years of driving the same model. His excitement turned to frustration when he returned from UFC 317, only to discover the new truck was gone. Cormier's recount of the ordeal was relatable and grounded in everyday reality. "I was driving Raptors over and over since 2018, wanted a change, got this truck, and 4 days later, it's gone. It's wild." Fans were quick to share empathy, with many sharing personal anecdotes of theft or loss. The MMA world often celebrates fighters as invincible warriors, but DC's experience reminded everyone that even legends face mundane struggles. The story also sparked lighthearted memes, with fans joking about thieves being too scared to steal anything else from DC or imagining the culprit trying to keep up with his hectic schedule. Fellow fighters sent messages of solidarity, showcasing the close-knit nature of the MMA family, while off-cage stories unfolded. The lightweight division was ablaze with excitement and intrigue. Ilia Topuria's electrifying knockout of Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 didn't just win him a second title, it elevated him into the conversation for the greatest pound-for-pound fighter alive. Topuria's technique was flawless. His timing, precision, and power were on full display. The fight replay showed him patiently reading Oliveira's movements before delivering a devastating right hand that ended the bout in just 2.5 minutes. But Topuria's rise also came with drama. He publicly challenged several top contenders, notably Arman Tsarukyan and Paddy Pimblett, accusing them of fear and reluctance to face him. This sparked a media frenzy. Pimblett, known for his outspoken nature and confidence, responded with bravado. His camp pushed narratives of an epic showdown, capitalizing on his growing fan base. "Ilya's good, but he hasn't faced my style," Pimblett said in an interview. "I'm coming to shake things up." The UFC brass, especially Dana White, maintained a pragmatic stance. While acknowledging Topuria's talent, Dana dismissed the idea of an immediate super fight against Islam Makhachev, who was set to fight Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title. Dana cited logistical and business reasons, emphasizing the importance of keeping divisions active and champions defending their belts regularly. This decision was met with frustration by fans and fighters alike, many longing for a high-profile matchup between two of the division's best. The politics of matchmaking became a hot topic, with debates over rankings, marketability, and fighter availability dominating MMA forums. Away from the spotlight, fighters shared candid stories about training with Topuria. Bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili recounted being knocked down twice during sparring, attesting to Topuria's power and skill. "He hits hard, too hard sometimes," Merab said, with a mix of respect and wariness. "Every session with him is a test." Others mentioned Topuria's intelligence and work ethic. He was described as methodical, constantly evolving, and intensely focused. Coaches praised his discipline and ability to absorb feedback, traits that often separate good fighters from great ones. Still, some insiders noted Topuria's relative inexperience in 5-round championship bouts. Questions lingered about his endurance and ability to handle pressure in the biggest moments. Amid the fighting and hype, the intricate web of politics and negotiations behind the scenes played a crucial role. Fighters like Arman Tsarukyan openly expressed dissatisfaction with the UFC's matchmaking decisions, arguing that marketability often trumps meritocracy. Tsarukyan's camp voiced their case through interviews and social media, pressing for a title shot that many felt was rightfully his. The tension underscored a recurring issue in MMA, balancing business interests with sporting fairness. Meanwhile, Pimblett's camp used every opportunity to stoke excitement, emphasizing his fan appeal and fight style as reasons he deserved a fast track to the title. Dana White remained cagey in public statements, but privately pushed for fights that would sell pay-per-views and maintain divisional activity. His approach, while pragmatic, drew criticism from purists. The internet exploded with reactions. Clips of Strickland's cage storming circulated widely, igniting fiery debates. Fans used hashtags, memes, and threads to express their views, some defending Sean's passion, others condemning his actions. Cormier's stolen truck story spawned a lighter tone, with fans showing empathy and sharing humorous takes. Topuria's upcoming fights were dissected endlessly. Fantasy matchups, predictions, and training breakdowns flooded platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit. The lightweight division's narrative was rich, layered, and endlessly compelling. As the dust settled, anticipation grew for upcoming fights and announcements. The UFC's disciplinary decisions regarding Sean Strickland would set a tone for fighter conduct moving forward. Daniel Cormier's story, while a minor side note in the grand scheme, humanized the sports stars and reminded fans of their real lives beyond the cage. Ilia Topuria's trajectory promised to redefine the lightweight division. Whether facing Pimblett, Tsarukyan, or waiting on Islam Makhachev, the stakes couldn't be higher. The politics of matchmaking, the psychological demands on fighters, and the passion of fans all intertwined to create a vibrant, unpredictable landscape on MMA. Every fight, every moment, tinside or outside, the cage adds to a saga that captivates millions worldwide. And as the sport evolves, so too do its stories, its heroes, and its drama. Absolutely. Here's an extended continuation with Part 4. Following the same detailed style and narrative depth, the aftermath of Sean Strickland's cage storming and the stolen truck saga involving Daniel Cormier were just two threads in the larger tapestry of a sport that never seems to sleep. As the dust began to settle, the spotlight returned squarely to the fighters and matchups that define MMA's heartbeat. Among them, Ilia Topuria stood as a beacon of raw talent and rising star power, poised to further shake up the lightweight division. Topuria's camp had been working around the clock, fine-tuning strategies and preparing for what many anticipated would be one of the most electrifying fights of the year. The matchup against Paddy Pimblett was drawing comparisons to classic rivalries, a clash not just of styles, but personality, backgrounds, and fan bases. Pimblett, the British sensation, was the quintessential showman, charismatic, brash, and immensely skilled, he had cultivated a massive following, especially among younger fans who connected with his candidness and flair. His fights were more than just contests. They were events, spectacles brimming with drama and unpredictability. Topuria, by contrast, was the quiet assassin. His demeanor subdued and focused, his approach clinical and devastatingly effective. Those who trained with him spoke of a work ethic bordering on obsessive, a man who lived to perfect his craft and silence doubters with every strike. The contrasting personas set the stage for a cultural moment in MMA. The buildup was filled with verbal jabs, psychological warfare, and escalating anticipation. Both fighters seized every media opportunity to plant seeds of doubt and bravado, each seeking to gain a mental edge before the physical battle even began. Meanwhile, the UFC matchmaking machine was running overtime behind closed doors. Dana White, though publicly non-committal about certain super fights, was acutely aware of the marketing potential that these bouts held. Balancing fighter readiness, contractual obligations, and global audience demand was no small feat. Whispers within the industry suggested that talks were underway for potential co-main or main event slots that would maximize viewership, especially given Topuria's rising global profile and Pimblett's magnetic appeal in Europe. Yet, beyond the glitz and hype, serious questions lingered about the toll such high-stakes fights could take. The lightweight division had been unforgiving in recent years, with the revolving door of champions and contenders rising and falling swiftly. The physical and mental demands were relentless. Topuria's previous fights, while spectacular, often ended early. This raised questions about his ability to endure grueling, 5-round championship fights against seasoned adversaries, known for resilience and tactical depth. On the other side, Pimblett's aggressive, high-energy style was a double sword. While electrifying for fans, it sometimes left openings for counterattacks or fatigue in later rounds. Coaches and analysts dissected every nuance, studying past fights, training footage leaks, and even sparring session reports to predict how the clash would unfold. Amid this, the divisional landscape remained complex. Arman Tsarukyan, who many argued was next in line for a title shot, grew increasingly vocal. His camp criticized the UFC's prioritization of marketable matchups over merit, highlighting his own consistent performances and readiness. Tsarukyan's frustration was echoed by fans and commentators who lamented the sometimes opaque criteria governing title shots and matchmaking decisions. This ongoing debate touched on broader themes of fairness, business interests, and the evolving nature of MMA as both sport and entertainment. Outside the fighters' circles, the MMA media ecosystem was buzzing. Podcasts, YouTube channels, and social media platforms dedicated countless hours to breaking down the drama, analyzing fight strategies, and speculating on the future. Some channels released detailed breakdowns of Topuria's knockout techniques, highlighting his timing and precision. Others spotlighted Pimblett's charisma and crowd control abilities. The digital fan base was engaged like never before, fueling conversations, fan theories, and heated debates across Twitter threads, Reddit forums, and Discord servers. The buzz wasn't limited to hardcore fans. Mainstream media began taking notice, further elevating the sports profile. As the fight date approached, training camps intensified. Both fighters reportedly pushed themselves to new physical and mental limits, aware that the stakes were not just belts and rankings, but legacy and global recognition. Behind the scenes, UFC officials worked on logistics, security, and promotional plans, ensuring that the event would be a worldwide spectacle, complete with elaborate press conferences, weigh-ins, and fan interaction events. Meanwhile, whispers about possible super fights remained. Speculation about Islam Makhachev's future, especially after his scheduled bout with Jack Della Maddalena, continued to dominate headlines. Fans and insiders debated scenarios in which he might return to lightweight or pursue a dominant welterweight run. Topuria himself hinted in interviews that he was open to challenges beyond Pimblett, subtly suggesting a hunger for the biggest fights possible, including the elusive clash with Makhachev that fans craved. The psychological chess match was as intense as any physical preparation. Both fighters employed sports psychologists and mental coaches to maintain focus and manage the immense pressures. In training gyms, peers and sparring partners kept close tabs on the progress. Rumors of secret sparring sessions and techniques filtered through, adding layers of intrigue. For the UFC, the success of these bouts had broader implications. The lightweight division's vibrancy and star power were key to maintaining the sport's growth trajectory globally. especially as new markets opened and digital platforms expanded viewership. The narratives surrounding Topuria and Pimblett weren't just about fights. They symbolized MMA's evolution, melding raw talent, personality, and global appeal into events that captivated audiences across demographics. As Fight Week arrived, anticipation reached fever pitch. Media tours, press conferences, and weigh-ins drew massive attention, with social media engagement skyrocketing. Fans from around